Welcome back, everyone, to riskfeestaxes.com. Higher Ground Financial Group. I'm Imran Razvi. This is Daniel Razvi. We are here to help you with the retirement. With all the craziness that's happening in the market, we want to give you some peace and some security, right? How do we do that?
Well, you go to our website. First of all, you can check us out there, riskfeestaxes.com. Those are the three killers in retirement: risk, fees, and taxes. If we get rid of those, everything else gets better in retirement. And people talk about risk a lot,
especially these days with the market being so volatile.
Yeah, and whether it's due to the current administration or whether it's due to some risk factors that were already there, either way, there's a lot of volatility, a lot of ups and downs in the market. And the market's always going to be like that.
You mean it's always been this way?
It's always been this way. It may not be quite as wild swinging always as it is right now, but it's historically, you're going to have good years and bad years.
And, I was looking at a video of somebody that was talking about the volatility of the market back in 1972. And it's at the same advice that we would give today. It's going to come. It happens every several years. And either you want to, if you're about to retire, you should be out of the market. If you're not about to retire, just ride it out. It's going to come back. But it's the same advice. It always happens. It's been happening for years and years and years. It goes up and goes down.
And there's this thing, which term you may have heard or you may not have heard, but you can Google it. It's called sequence of returns risk. That's the biggest risk when you enter retirement. That and longevity risk. Those are the two biggest risks.
So let's break down. What is sequence of returns? Meaning that it depends on what sequence the return or the negative return happens? Is that it?
Yes, because you're going to have bad years. If you're in the market, you will have good years and bad years. What you want to avoid is having bad years at the beginning, because if you have bad years at the beginning of retirement, that erodes while you're taking big withdrawals.
So at the beginning of your job cycle, it's fine. But when you're about to retire, it's not fine.
Exactly. If you retired in 1996, you could have pulled out like 7 or 8% of your money every single year and never run out. For 30 years, you still have money, maybe even more than what you started with. Wow. But if you retired in 2000, pulling out the 700%, you would be completely broke within about 10, 12 years.
Only 5-year difference.
And that's why, and that's because from 1996, 97, 98, 99, those were great years. And then the 3 bad years, 2000, 2001, 2002. And so the problem is people that retired in 2000, they had really bad years at the beginning rather than in the middle or the end of their retirement. Now, you can't control when those bad years will happen. If you're retiring today, well, chances are this year is not a great year, but you never really know, and we don't know what it's going to be next year. Or if you're retiring in the next few years, you can't afford to have bad years early on. So what you need is you need to transfer that risk to someone else so you don't have that risk. Either you have money that's outside the market entirely, maybe a big cash fund that you can draw from, and that's the Warren Buffett plan. Warren Buffett, last I checked, had several $100 billion in cash holdings. So he understands that it's important to keep money on the sidelines and then also money invested so that when the market crashes and you need money, you have it, some ways to get it, and you can also get in when the opportunities are there. So that's the volatility buffer strategy, keeping your money separate, and it helps you with sequence of returns.
Yeah, he's one of the smartest investors we've ever had in the marketplace. Everybody loves to see and talk about him. But his number one rule in investing is never, ever lose money. And then his rule number 2 is basically the same. It's don't ever forget rule number 1. So the first 2 rules are no, don't lose money. And so on that note, he has taken out about $350 billion out of the market. And actually, he started doing that well before the Trump presidency. So before he even knew that Trump was going to be elected or tariff or anything like that, he knew that the market cycle had reached a high and there were underlying rotten things in the market that's going to cause it to fall. And if he has the money on the sidelines, he can reinvest at a discount some of those companies that have discounted at that point.
But let's bring it closer to home. What if you don't have $300 billion lying around to put in cash like Warren Buffett does? How does it impact you? Well, sequence of returns, to avoid that, you just need enough money in your safe or guaranteed accounts, like a bank or a CD or money market or fixed annuity, something that's guaranteed not to lose money. You need enough there that you can draw all of your income in the bad years out of that. Because the main problem with the market crashing during retirement is you're spending money. If you don't spend money, as a lot of advisors like to say, oh, if you don't sell while it's low, you can't really lose. I mean, yes, you do lose the money because you have to grow from the lower amount, but it's not as bad if you don't also have to withdraw.
Right.
And so if you have enough money in another account, that allows you to bypass the sequence of returns risk. You can pull from the safe account when the market's down and pull from the market account when the market's up.
I'll give you an example. Let's say I have $2 million and I'm used to pulling out, say, 6%. All right. That's $120,000 I pull out this year, or last year I pulled out $120,000. This year I dropped by 15%. Okay. So now my 2 million is already down by 15%. So it's already lost 300,000. And then I pull out another 120,000. Now I'm way down. Before that 6% was just the interest, but now I've really, really gone into my principal.
And that's something you can never recover from if it happens too early in retirement. Because you can't control when those bad years happen, you need to have a buffer that is outside the market entirely. Or you need to have some kind of guaranteed income. Many people listening to this program have worked or work for the government or for some other company that offers a pension. Mostly it's government entities that still offer pensions, but there's some other private pensions. And if you had a pension, and actually pretty much everybody has a pension. They got Social Security. We'll revisit Social Security again in another segment. But you have a Social Security, you may have a pension from the government or from your workplace, and that's guaranteed income, and it doesn't have anything to do with the market. So that's a really good way also to get around the sequence of returns risk and to combat the other big risk in retirement, which is longevity risk. The risk that no matter how well you have it invested, you still are living so long that eventually, because of inflation and everything else, you start to run out of money because you're healthy. You didn't die. You didn't get in bad health. Those are all good things, but they are bad things when you count how much money you have to spend to take care of yourself. And that's where a pension can come in and really help you not have to ever run out, no matter how long you live.
So what's the real best way to combat sequence of returns risk? I mean, if you could just pick the golden ticket or the easy button, what's the best way to fix that?
Well, the best way to not have sequence of returns risk is not to have sequence of returns, not to have never have bad years. If you don't ever lose money, then it doesn't matter what order the returns come in.
So should I put all my money into something safe like a CD?
Well, I mean, what you might intuitively think is, well, if I do that, then I won't have as much reward, right? No risk, no reward. Sometimes that's true, and to a certain extent, we agree. You don't want all your money in one place, even if it's a safe place. Sometimes you're missing out on some opportunities if you have everything protected. You may want to have a little bit of risk, but you might be surprised to learn, based on today's interest rates, based on what the markets are doing, the innovation has been in the financial industry, you may be surprised to find out how much you can actually get while still not having any chance of loss. We had a client just the other day we talked to, and we were able to find a program for him that he has the potential of getting 8, 9, 10% returns, but he still has no chance of loss.
Yeah.
And there are a number of programs out there that can do that. Some of them have fees, some of them don't have fees. At our firm, Higher Ground, we hate fees. So as much as we can do it without fees, we like to do that as well. And some of these are options-based strategies, some of them are returns-based strategies. There's a lot of different things you can do to protect from market loss. And if you don't ever have market loss, you don't have to worry about sequence of returns risk. So go to our website, which is riskfeestaxes.com. That's again, riskfeestaxes.com. And talk to us here at Higher Ground to figure out how to eliminate sequence of returns risk.
Well, we're not saying that all your money has to move into this fixed type of account. I mean, it could be, in fact, mathematically, if you have at least 50% to 75% of your money there, then the rest can still be at a high risk area. And meaning that you could be even more volatile than the S&P 500 and still be okay, because at least 50 to 75% of your money is protected. That's the key. The key to really eliminate that volatility risk is to have at least 50 to 75% protected.
And if you've done that, then you can retire much more confidently, that you won't ever run out of money. You can actually draw a lot more percentage-wise. We've talked about this before, that most advisors don't recommend taking more than 3 or 4% out each year, because you need to have enough cushion so you don't take too much out when it's down. But if it's never down, you can actually take out more and still have the same chance of not running out of money. It's a very, very strong likelihood that you will never run out of money. And our clients generally, when they work with our firm, they retire several years sooner than they thought was possible. They retire with significantly more income than they thought they would have in retirement. And they save over $1 million in taxes. That's, one of the benefits of working with Higher Ground is we have client-facing tax attorneys that work with our fiduciary retirement planners to give you advice to minimize your taxes over the long term. We've brought on clients from all over the place, many different advisors. They come to us, they say, look, my advisor, he mentioned taxes, but then he says the disclaimer, well, I'm not really a tax attorney or a CPA. I can't give you tax advice.
Right.
Or the email and says that in the signature. And I'm tired of hearing that. I want my clients to have good, actionable legal and tax advice. So when you work with us, you are getting advice from our law firm that is minimizing your taxes over the long term. That's really, really key. So you not only can get rid of risk, but also fees and taxes. That's the trifecta. And again, our website is riskfeestaxes.com.
And the whole idea is to have some plan. The problem is, without a plan, you're stressed. We want to eliminate this stress from your life. And many times, I mean, almost every week we talk to a client that's just, you can see the stress leave their face once we've shown them the math behind their income, once we've shown them an easy way out of this rat race. I mean, working for all their lives, and they're kind of tired, they're kind of stressed, and then all these crazy things happening with the government laying people off and companies laying people off. They're stressed. What if it happens to me? What if I don't have enough money? And once we can do the plan and show what kind of income you can actually generate, then the relief sets in. Then you start seeing, oh, that's a little smile come in. I didn't know I was that close to retirement. I didn't know I could have retired last month. It's fun time when you realize that. And some people decide, I'm gonna keep working now that I'm not stressed about retiring. I keep working with a different attitude. And some people say, hey, it's too soon if I retired yesterday. And so we put that into place. We help them do that.
Yeah, we want to give you an income plan so that you know you can retire whenever you want. So the only reason you're working is because you really enjoy working. You like your job. And if that's the reason, go ahead, keep working. But you should have financial independence so that you can retire whenever you want without paying too much in taxes and while reducing and eliminating risk and fees. So again, our website at Higher Ground Financial Group is riskfeestaxes.com. You can schedule your free Zoom call there. It's always a video call. We don't do any in-person meetings.
And one last statement. You do not have to pay more taxes than the absolute minimum you owe. Okay?
Yes.
And that's important. If you don't do planning, you'll end up paying more than what the minimum amount is that you owe. So you need a tax attorney on your side to minimize your returns. Your taxes, I mean.
Yeah, don't minimize your returns, minimize your taxes, maximize the return you can get. But the way you do that is reducing and eliminating risk as well. So again, go to our website, riskfeestaxes.com, and make your free appointment today.